Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab where I do what I do for you. We at the end of the book. It's about over. Let's rock. I got you. Radism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right Thinkers mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right Thinkers way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. Excuse me. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through. That's what I do. A person who knows not, and knows not that they know not, is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not, and knows that they know not, is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock, here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself. And to my yacht, be true. We're wrapping up page 153, 157 is a wrap. But we're going to talk about, right thing, we're going to talk about the Kabbalistic tree of life. Okay. They started this 1200 ACE. But they're going to tell you they borrowed some concepts from the Egyptians. I ain't got a problem with that. Let's break it down for you. Now this is what they look like, their tree of life. Okay, it's 10 spears. Okay, this is God. You gotta work your way down to get to God, and they got a few philosophical differences that make it theirs. Okay, let's go. So, as the ancient Egyptian mysticism related to the pillar of Asar and the tree of Anuian theology, the discovery of the Kabbalistic tree of life in the Kabbalah is seen as the ultimate goal of life for the Jewish community. Okay? Now, the symbolism of the Kabbalistic tree of life is to be understood, listen, as a mystic code which holds the symbolism for what? The understanding of God. They don't believe in God. The Jews didn't play that belief. No, they had a philosophical concept, and I agree with them 100%. Why? So they had to get an understanding of God and creation, as well as a mystic map showing the path to spiritual enlightenment. A lot of people don't like the Jews for whatever reason, but they had a philosophy that they lived by. They could care less about y'all Jesus Christ being the Messiah. Or they said, no, we ain't buying that. So they had a philosophy, and they was hedonistic. They picked one God out of all the gods. They chose one. Okay, Yahweh. That's their boy. Jehovah. Okay, but the Sephiric tree of life, that's what they call it. It consists of 10 spiritual centers. We got 7 spiritual centers. The chakra system, they got that plus 3 more, and they got explaining what they use it for and the purpose. I ain't got a problem with that. Go. So they got the 10 centers of Sephiroth, which emanate again from the divine self. They had a perfect concept, and with them, God. These centers represent spiritual principles, just like ours, as well as the psychological principles which need to be understood and mastered. I mean, you had to practice it, use it, master it by what? The Kabbalistic aspirants or the right thinkers aspirants. Same thing. You have to learn and then master by implementing it in order to what? Obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment. aka know thyself. And at the top of the tree, it relates to what? To the mystic symbolism, again, of climbing up to heaven. Again, no problems. The cross of Jesus is often referred to as the what? The tree of life. That's the one they shoot with Christ on it, stretched out with the serpent going up, the apple tree. Moving on, just gave that lesson. But now in the Bhagavad Gita in India, circa 500 BCE, meaning it was before them, the tree is used as a metaphor to symbolize what? That the world is not the source of its own existence, but that indeed the spirit is the source of all creation. They had a perspective and a concept that I don't have a problem with at all. Now, the blessed Lord said what? The scriptures speak of an imperishable Ashwata tree, okay, of the world process, which its roots is above and the branches are below, aka upside down tree. The Vedic verses constitute what? Its leaves. He who knows, this is what they say, he who knows this tree is the knower of essence of the Vedas. The tree represents God, the self. If you know the tree, you know God, you know yourself. That's the concept. I ain't got a problem with that. Moving on. Okay, they was on point with that. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, it says, what's that? Per Ushatan Yuga. That's the yoga of Supreme Spirit. The same teaching, here we go. The same teaching, these are all teachings. The same teachings found in the Zohar, text of the Kabbalism, which reads what? The tree of life extends from above downward and is the sun which illuminates all. This philosophy of the Kabbalism, holds that what? That they say the right side of the tree represents what? Light and good. And the left side represents darkness or evil. That's where I had to draw the line. Pull the buzz. Why? I get off at that part. That's a philosophy that I don't agree with. Simple as that. And our side, the right side is the female. Left side is the male. The right side is odd. Left side is even. So that whole, I don't subscribe to that. I let you know what I do and what I don't. And that's one of them. Simple. Don't make a difference. Moving on. But this is their concept. And they got it from somebody else. And this understanding or misunderstanding is reminiscent of what? Of the Zoroastrian philosophy. Again, they took parts and made it their own. Okay, cool. I don't agree with that. But which influenced what? Early Judaism. Like the Bircha of ancient Egypt. That's who we represent. Watch this. And Brahmin in India. They got theirs. Now the Kabbalism views God as the absolute and transcendent in soul, which is the infinite. They had their philosophy. They had their concept. Moving on, we're almost there. It's going to be a quick lesson. I'm almost home. Now, the Sephiroth, which is the spears, we call them chakras, what are seen as attributes of God. Again, philosophy, concept, aspects, no problem. As a human being develops these what attributes by practicing them, learning them, implementing them, and mastering them. Through these attributes, what happened? You ready? This is their words. They become God-like and therefore become divine in the flesh. Now, after you die, no, right now, you practice these things. The spears have been compared to, the chakras. They always come back. Of India and Kundalini yoga and ancient Egyptian serpent power. That's what we call it. Mysticism. And what? The meditations produce a similar mystical movement of energy, light and heat, and what? The subtle body of what? A human being, which lead to greater spiritual experiences of what? The divine. When the preacher is in the spirit and he goes breaking out into tongue, that's him engaging in the spirit. I ain't got a problem with that. I don't exercise it, but I understand it. I get that part. When the spirit hit me, I cry. That's my reaction. So everybody got a way to deal with that spirit when it hit them. But the fact is, you have to experience it for yourself. And whatever you do with it while you're in it, however you react to it, that's your choice. Okay? But it's that divine experience. That's the difference in believing in God and knowing God. Believing means you're going to believe what somebody told you. You're going to go about this, yeah, but you don't have your own experience. Knowing God is having your own experience. And if you live right, do right, and act accordingly, you will have your own experience. Simple. Watch this. Now, that's how you get the Kundalini to rise. Their philosophy is you come in. Our philosophy, the Kundalini is dead. What? Waiting to be awakened. That's the different philosophy when it comes to that aspect. So now, when this form of ecstasy, blissed out, this ecstasy, I call it blissed out, having a mental, a spiritual orgasm, connecting with God, your heart, mind, orgasm, them two come together, it's a feeling like no other. That's God. And when this ecstasy occurs, what happened? It is called, they called it Shifa, which is what? Divine influx. Okay? Again, I'm on board. I understand it. Got a problem with it. Now, in contrast to the Egyptian serpent power or the Kundalini by the Indian yoga system, it is seen as an energy, watch this, which what comes into the body rather than laying dormant already in the body. That's the difference. I just told you that. So again, this is what I do. And as a human being, masters the psycho-spiritual principle of the center, he or she is now able to what? Move spiritually up to the infinite, aka become immortal. Why? Becoming God within themselves and knowing that for themselves. That's the ticket. And now they got these words, I'm gonna botch them probably, but you got Malkuth. That represents the physical body. It's going to lead to 10 so far is what they represent, okay? And all of them, philosophically, I don't have a problem with. Watch this. You're building yourself to be God. I understand that. First of all, Malkuth, that's the physical body. Yusad, okay, represents the heart. Again, Had, that represents the glory. Netzach, that represents the victory. Okay, these are all the interpretations. I'm understanding them. Now you got Tip the Wrath, that represents intellect. I say Tahuti. Then you got Gabara, that represents force. Whatever, the force, okay. I arrive, my girl, Hethu. And you got Chesed, that represents mercy. Okay. Binah, that represents wisdom. Again, Tahuti. The Chokmah, that represents the light, Haru, in you. And you got Ketha. Ketha represents the spirit, Asar, and humility. Okay? And the lower 7 spheres have been related to what? The 7 psycho-spiritual consciousness energy of the subtle spine that we know from the Egyptians as serpent power. From the Indians, they call it Kundalini or chakras. And the 3 upper spheres, remember, they got 10, 7 chakras. The 3 more spheres, they represent what? They are explained as mystical steps toward unity with God. I don't have a problem with that again. So far, so good. Thus, now through daily meditation, spiritual discipline, contemplation on what? The tree, all aspirants climb up metaphorically through the principles of life that they live for themselves, and they will understand creation for themselves. Wrapping it up, the Sefer Yazarah, or what they call the Kabbalistic book of creation, they had their book too. And it says what? It says that God created the universe through 32 paths of wisdom. What they're saying is, we gave you 22 letters of the alphabet, and we gave you 10 numbers. Work with them. And that's what they did. What's this? And these are represented by the 10 Sephirots and the 22 letters of what? The Hebrew alphabet. We got 26, they got 22. Did you know that? Okay. And what? The Sephirat originally represented numbers at what? And later came to be interpreted as what? Emanations from which all existence originates and has its basis. Where? God, the supreme being, whatever you want to call him, but everybody had their philosophical points of view on how to serve, get to him, know him, and the Jews, Hebrews, didn't have a problem. Why? They fully understood what they was doing. They didn't call it a belief system. Now, this is what I call the review. We're at the end of the book. We started out up in the noon. You see the new up top? I gave you me, her, that's to the left, the female aspect. The Bircha, the right, that's the male aspect. And then I brought you down, I just gave you the net lesson. And y'all seen, I gave you the Sphinx lesson, okay? Took you down to Anu the first time. I broke down the Sphinx. I broke down, not the Sphinx, but I broke down the obelisk. That's Gaia's penis, okay? So then I brought you down here. You see we start the numbers 1. That's the Trinity of God. In the daytime, he's Khepri. Noon, he's Ra. In the evening, he's Tum. That's the lifestyle of man, creation and God. And on the other side, you see Tahuti. He's not a person. He's an aspect of your character. He's God's mind, okay? And on the other side, you got my girls, the 2 God's eyes. She represents Mayat. She represents order. And Haru or Hathor, she represents the female power, the aspect of spirit. Now, we're going down here. Quick review. I'm trying to get through it. I hope y'all understand. I'm having fun now. Down here, we got, first thing, Shu, air. That's what he represents. Other one opposite, we have Tough Newt. See the lion's head? Because we was in the Leo constellation, and the first aspect of the females was in the lion's form. That's Tough Newt. She represents water. And down here, we got Geb. He represents physical earth. Newt represents heaven over top of him. Coming down, we're going to get down here to Asar, the spirit in man. That starts it off. The soul is in us, is from Asar. Number 7 is my girl, his companion Aset, the queen and mother of all. Next to that, you got Asar's evil brother Set. That's your ego. Okay, he kills his brother. And you got Nephet. She represents mortality. And at the very bottom here, this is what we want to be. All my right thinkers, y'all want to be Haru That's what? Master of oneself while still here in the present of earth. Quick rundown. Hope you understood it. I try to break it down, make it simple. We just went through a whole book. Okay? I got more for you. We about to hit it. And I'm going to close out with the conclusion on the next page or the next lesson. I'm going to wrap it up with the conclusion. It's a good bit of information. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed giving it to you. I'll be back with more. You know how we do it, right, thinkers? And in closing, may you all live to be 100, me, 100 minus a day. So I never know my right thinkers have passed away. I'll be right back.